Okay, so we've got a 2x2 system of equations. We're going to be solving this algebraically. What I want you to notice is the first equation is linear. We know that because everything is raised to the first power, and the second is a circle because we have x squared and y squared. When we have linear circle systems of equations, we are not going to solve the circle for anything. We are just going to take the linear equation and solve for one of the variables. So the easiest thing for me to do here would be to move the 3x to the other side, and this equation becomes y equals 3x minus 30. Now that I know what y equals, I'm going to take this value here, this whole expression, and substitute it for y into the circle equation. So instead of x squared plus y squared, I'm going to have x squared plus 3x minus 30 squared equals 100. Okay, and now I'm going to simplify this. And as I simplify, I do have to remember that squaring a binomial means that I'm actually multiplying it by itself. Okay, so we're foiling or double distributing or whatever you like to call it. But as we multiply that out and combine our like terms, what we're going to end up with is 9x squared minus 180 plus 900. And then it's still equal to 100. Okay, so that comes from first, outers, inner, last, and then combining like terms. Next, we have to get this in standard form because now we have a quadratic we have to solve. I know it's a quadratic because x is squared. So I've got x squared plus 9x squared, which is 10x squared. Sorry, I missed my x there. Minus 180x. And then I'm going to move 100 over to the other side so that this is plus 800 equals 0. Now, if you notice, this all has a GCF of 10. So I'm going to try to make this equation a little simpler to work with and divide everything by 10. You could complete the square from there. You could do quadratic formula from there, but I think it's easier if we make it simpler because now it's factorable. Okay, so if I factor, I'm looking for two things that multiply to 80 but add to negative 18. So in order to multiply to a positive number, they're either both positive or both negative. Because they're adding to a negative 18, it makes them both negative. So here are my factors, which makes my solutions the negations of that. X equals 8 and x equals 10. Okay. Now remember, a system of equations are the coordinates on a graph where the line crosses the circle. So we have to have an x and a y for each x. So I'm going to go back up here so I can see my equation. I have x equals 8 and x equals 10, and I'm going to substitute them both back into one of the original equations in order to get my answer. Okay, so I'm going to substitute into the original linear equation and replace the x with 8 because now I know what x equals. So I simplify, and when I solve, I get y equals negative 6 from the first one, which makes my coordinate 8, negative 6 for one of my solutions. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my 10. So y minus 3 times 10 equals negative 30. And as I solve, I get y equals 0. So the coordinate is 10, 0. And those are the two places where my line will cross my parabola. I'm sorry, my line will cross my circle.